Hi. In this particular lecture, so we have been looking at this particular book. In this particular lecture, I'm going to cover chapters 5 and 6, and these are basic chapters about how to write code. So I expect them to be very quick. You look at these things, and after that, I think the two more lectures that I definitely would like to do. One is about functions, and the last one is about classes. Okay, so let's look at chapter 5 and 6. So when it comes to chapter 5, okay, you have a for loop, we all know that. There's nothing interesting there. Mm, yeah, we all know for break continues. I'm actually just going to skip about it. You can do interesting things with it. No, for while, okay, yeah, you know that how this is different, x and plus plus x. If you have something, y is equal to x plus y is equal to x plus plus, then y gets the value x, and the increment operation happens after that. And in this case, the increment happens first, and y gets the value x plus 1. So that's the idea. Yeah, so increment pointer take the value, right? On the other hand, this means obtain the value repeat and then increment the value. Okay, and this is increment pointed to value. So we understand all that. Dereference original, once again, this is dereference original location, then increment pointer. So we spoke about that. They can be applied to pointers as well. Most, yes, this is okay. Reversing strings, there are different examples. Yeah, please do double equals as comparison, and single equals is assignment. Yes, we all know that. Okay, let's look at something. So the while loop, while that expression is true, you can do a bunch of stuff. The do while is guarantees that it will execute at least once, since what happens is that these statements gets executed, and then it checks whether this expression is still true, and if so, it continues execution. So the do while kind of guarantees that it will execute at least once. Okay, so this is something new that is introduced in the C++11 in a later standard. Similar to the for each loop, you can do for double x, where x is an array. It can be one of the container classes such as vector or array, and you can then x takes values inside this, and you can just print that. And this will be a get only array. What that means is you can't modify x. If you want to modify x, you have a reference to it. What it means is, this is, in this case, it means that x is a reference to prices, so you can modify the value of x. The interesting thing here is you don't have to necessarily dereference x. X is not a pointer, it's a reference to the original value. And it will be talk about that in chapter 8. I think that should have been covered before, but I hope you get the idea. Okay, once again, similar to cin dot is, remember cout dot put, there is a cin dot char to kind of get the character input. Why does the program omit the spaces on output? Blame cin. Reading the character values, cin skips over spaces and new lines. Their spaces in the input are not echoed, so they are not counted. And cin is buffered. It means that the characters you type don't get sent to the program unless you print enter. That is why you are unable to type characters after these, etc. So you want to do is you use cin.getChar, and you do character by character, like, while end of line, or something like that has been reached. And this is the idea here. Cout and cin get, etc. Okay, which cin should you use? Yes, so you can explicitly give the array size, and so one version takes two arguments: the array name, which is the address, and the array size, which is the type of int. Then the other one just takes the takes a character. If a C function, you use the same function. Yes. Okay. This function overloading end of file. Some more checks, different kinds of checks. This is the check for end of file. C in fail, double equals false. You can also do something like this, end of file. As I told you, like this is going to be easy because we all, but the assumption is all of us know how to program, so this is going to be very quick. Okay, so different types of loops. Now let's look at chapter 6. Anything interesting there? Probably not, but let's quickly go over it. The if statement, I think we all look at that. The if else if, sure. Logical or and it is the short circuit as well, so we know that as well. Logical not, sure. CC type, what is this one? Yes, so this is important. There is this library which is CC type or ctype.h, and there's a bunch of useful methods. So you just maybe want to know about this, that is number, is alpha, is blank, control digit, is graph. So this is something that so that you don't have to worry about it, and you can just use that, and that's probably a good library to know. Once again, this is the ternary operator, that whether this is true or that is, if this is true, then you can use this or use that. The switch statement, we all know about that. Switch, use break, etc. Nothing interesting there. The break and continue, we know about them as well. Number reading loops, I'm actually not even going to spend time here. Okay, something interesting, at least it was interesting for me because I was not very well versed about reading and writing files. So let's say if you want to do this, so this is interesting. Let's say if you want to do this, how do you, if you want to read this line, so how do you go about doing that? Now if you do this, if you try to use character, then it will just read 3 and 8 separately. And now if you do int, then it will just you read 38 and then the 5. And if you try double, then it does use 38 point. It does read 38.5. And if you read character, then this is what is interesting. Scene reads up to the white space character. It means that it reads 38.5, and then it kind of adds the null. But if you read get line, if you do the get line, then it actually reads the entire line. So the idea here is that the same cin, depending on the overload that you will use, you'll end up reading different stuff out of the input buffer. That's the important thing. And reading and writing to a file, writing to a text file, you definitely have to include stream, and there is an output stream variable called cout. We already knew that, but then there is this, you must include the f stream header file. This is for file, this is input output stream, this is file stream. And then similar to the cout, there is an output file stream. So this is OF stream, output file stream, for handling output. Okay, so that's the idea here. And yeah, it has a bunch of methods. So as you can see here, the output, it has a bunch of methods. You can take a look at it. It will help you to route file. Okay, this is important. The close doesn't require a file name here. Okay, we knew that because the object, the file name has already been associated to the out file object. And reading, you can imagine there is an if stream class for for managing inputs. So the moment you have a variable or an object defined of if stream, then you can go ahead and do what you want. Just a side note, as you can see here, you're actually declaring objects. You're not newing it up, but it is implicit. I guess it's okay, but you can always do is equal to new something, and that's fine as well. But if you do new, then you have to worry about deleting it, so remember that. So it really depends, and we'll talk about them later as well. Once again, this code method, we have seen that. CC type, we spoke about that. So that's pretty much it. These were, these were quick chapters 5 and 6. The interesting chapters are going to come very soon, which is the functions and the classes ones. Thanks. Bye bye.